This is KG Rocks. Please welcome our host, Kianna Grace.
Hi everybody. Today I'm interviewing Sophie Mayanne, a photographer who just happens to be my sister. Hi Sophie.
Hey Kianna.
We're going to be talking about scars. Lots of them. Big, little, small, tall. But most importantly, the stories behind them. We will get to hear about what inspires her, some of the amazing people she has met, and, like I said before, the stories. So Sophie, here goes. What made you choose photography?
I don't know if I chose photography in particular, but after I finished, I did a BTEC in art and design at college. I started one of those projects, which is a 365-day self-portrait one. Got to day 211, and then, I actually had a university teacher that told me I only ever sit in my room and take photos of myself. So I decided to actually start photographing other people, and then from there it's kind of progressed. And I think I take slightly better pictures than I did then, but that's where it all started.
So, before the Scars project, what other projects did you do before?
A mixture of portrait and fashion. So I've shot for a few different magazines, and but always taking photographs of people.
Yeah. So you said fashion, but fashion is quite different to Scars. So what made you decide to take a change and photograph Scars?
Well, I think even when I was photographing fashion, I always tried to look for something different or cast people who had either an interesting story, an interesting background, something that made them it kind of added a little bit more to the photos. It wasn't just about the clothes they were wearing. So I think I've always had that interest in creating more about an image, or adding more of a person into an image, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested in the idea of flaws and the things that make us different. So say, if there was two people and maybe one had loads of freckles, maybe I picked them because that might be interesting for that story. So
your project is called Behind the Scars. What is the behind part of it?
Well, the behind the scars it's kind of what it says on the tin. We're photographing people's scars, but it's all about the story behind them too. Because I think often, you might see someone's scar, but you don't always know the story behind it or what someone's overcome, or the battles they faced. And, you don't often get to see that in a very raw and kind of real way.
So, talking about stories, so these people have a story behind their scars. Is there any particular ones that stand out?
I don't think those particular ones that stand out, as they're all so very different, and each story affects someone in a different way. And I think, with an audience, some people may relate to one more than another because it might relate to their own personal experiences. But for me, I find each one equally as interesting, even from the small ones to the really big ones, because those scars have had a personal effect on someone, and they're part of their journey and part of their history. So I think that's what makes it interesting.
What sort of stuff do you use to take the photos?
Well, a camera for one.
Yeah, obviously. But
I chose for the project a very simple setup. So I use a natural light studio backdrop, which I either go for a dark blue, light blue, or a kind of oyster type colour, and I'm adding lilac to the project soon too. So they're quite kind of muted colours, so they don't take away, because it's about the person, not the environment they're in. It's about the scar and their story and their chance to tell their story too. So
how do they tell you their story?
So we have a few exercise books on the table in the studio, so people actually handwrite their stories, and they take as much or as little time as they need. So some people come with theirs kind of already in mind, whereas other people kind of write theirs in the moment, which I think makes the stories much more raw, as opposed to, I think, when you type something up on the computer, you know, you can re-edit, edit, and then edit again, so then it becomes more particular as opposed to being more, you know, this is how I really feel.
So, do you usually have people coming forward for this project?
The project has been entirely on a volunteer basis so far. So I've used Instagram, social media and casting websites to make people aware of the project. And then from there, as I've posted pictures, kind of more people have seen them. And word of mouth as well, so people who've been involved kind of tell their friends about it, and then their friends tell their friends, so...
On that point, is it more women or more men come forward?
I think at the moment we've actually had more women. A lot of the men seem to be put forward by their girlfriends or wives, but I think we are getting more men involved in the project too.
Yeah. Well, when you go into the studio and these people, you don't know them, do you?
Some people I photographed for the project I have already known, so some friends have been involved in the project as well, but everyone I've spoken to briefly on email beforehand, and they tend to share a bit of their story then and kind of, you know, say a bit about themselves. And there's always, you know, if they're nervous at all or they need any information from me, I can answer any questions to kind of, you know, put someone at ease.
Yeah. Do you have any personal reaction to some of the stories?
I think some of the stories, I think they've been quite emotional as well, but also a lot of them have been really inspiring too, because, you know, I've met people with cancer who've survived house fires, surgery and all sorts, and, you know, they kind of, and all of them have like a really positive outlook, which is amazing as well. So I think it's made a big difference to me as a photographer, because, you know, I'm sharing people's stories as well, and it's important that I do that in a positive way too. So the images are very natural, they're very much about capturing the person too, as well as the story and their scar.
Do you find any of the scars particularly off-putting?
No, I don't think I'd be doing the project if I found skin in general off-putting, so I think if anything I just find them really, really interesting, which might be a strange thing to say, but again I think that is part of the story, and I think it's also amazing the way our skin heals and kind of overcomes accidents, surgeries, all these things, what people can come out of the other side of.
Yes. I don't know how they do it, really.
I think it's quite a personal journey for each person.
Yeah.
So.
You know, like, some scars are, like, hidden.
Yeah.
How do you get the person to, like, expose their scars?
Well, I think by putting themselves forward for the project, people, you know, they're interested in showing their scars already, even if they are in a place they perhaps wouldn't show on a normal day. Oh, I just burped. Pardon me. So we've had ones where they're on the bum, for example, so normally you wouldn't have your bum on show. But
Of course
in
not.
terms of the studio environment, it's very relaxed, so hopefully it doesn't feel that strange to kind of, you know, have your scars on show, because I think everyone that's there in the studio is there for the project, and so it's hopefully less daunting and less strange to kind of get your skin out. But
what are you hoping for this project in the future?
Eventually I would love to curate a book and to also hold an exhibition, but at the moment I'm raising funds to take the project to New York, as I've had quite a few emails from people there wishing to be involved. I'd also love to go across European countries as well, and So yeah, basically take it further than just the UK, because not everyone can get here to take part, so...
Yes. I'd like to thank you, Sophie, for coming on.
You're welcome.
That's it for today on KG Rocks.
Held in Sophie's bedroom.
See you later.
Bye.
And don't lose your socks.